Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share with you a story that completely changed my life. A story about rejection, overcoming, and how sometimes the most hurtful words can become the fuel for our greatest transformation. Before we begin, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe now because I promise this story will touch you deeply. It was an ordinary Tuesday in March when my life changed forever. I was 17 and a senior in high school. My father had always had a complicated relationship with me. I don't know if it was because I was a woman or because I constantly questioned his decisions. But ever since I was little, I felt like he saw me as a burden. My older brother, Daniel, was always the golden child, the one who played sports, who effortlessly got top grades, who received all the praise at the dinner table. That day, I was in my room studying for an important math test when I heard my father talking to Daniel in the living room. The door was ajar, and you know how it is when you hear your name mentioned. It's impossible not to pay attention. What I heard in that moment left me completely devastated and, at the same time, gave me strength I never knew I had within me. My father said to Daniel, in that deep, resolute voice I knew so well, "Your brother, your sister, isn't worth a cent. She won't achieve anything in life. She has no discipline, no focus. You'd better not waste your time trying to help her with her studies because she's already lost. Focus on yourself and your future at university." Guys, I swear I felt my heart stop for a few seconds. It was like someone had punched me in the stomach. I knew my father had doubts about my potential, but hearing him speak like that, with such certainty that I was a lost cause, was devastating. Tears began to stream down my face. But something strange happened. Along with the pain and anger, a determination I had never felt before began to grow within me. Daniel tried to defend me, and I heard him say, "Dad, don't talk about my sister like that. She just needs more support." But my dad cut him off. "Daniel, you're very kind, but sometimes we have to accept reality. Your sister doesn't have what it takes to succeed in life." That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling in my room, thinking about everything that had happened in the past few years. My father had never attended my school presentations, never asked about my grades, and when I tried to show him a project or assignment I'd done, he always found an excuse not to pay attention. Meanwhile, Daniel's every achievement, no matter how small, was celebrated as if it were a national victory. But you know what hurt me the most? It was realizing that, deep down, I kind of believed that too. I had internalized this idea that I truly wasn't good enough, that Daniel was superior to me in every way. That conversation was like a rude awakening to the reality of how I was seeing myself. The next morning, I made a decision that would change everything. I was going to prove to my father, to Daniel, to my entire family, and most importantly to myself, that he was completely wrong. I wasn't going to do it by yelling or arguing. I was going to do it through actions, through results that no one could question. I started by completely organizing my study routine. I created a detailed schedule for each subject, set clear goals, and began studying with an intensity I'd never experienced before. I woke up at 5 in the morning every day to study before class, and I studied late into the night. I turned every harsh word from my father into pure motivation. But I knew that just getting good grades wouldn't be enough. I needed to excel in other areas as well. I decided to run for class president, something I'd never considered before because I'd always thought I was too shy. To my surprise, I won the election. I started participating in academic competitions, math and science Olympiads, and extracurricular projects. The most incredible thing is that, as I achieved these small victories, my confidence grew. It was as if each success erased a little of that voice in my head that repeated my father's words. I began to see that he wasn't right, that I did have potential, that I just needed to believe in myself. A few months later, when the ENM results came out, I had achieved an incredible score. Not only that, but I was accepted into 3 renowned federal universities for the engineering program, which had always been my dream, but which I never had the courage to pursue because I thought I wasn't smart enough. I remember the day I came home with the acceptance letter. My father was in the living room watching TV. I walked over, my hand shaking, and handed him the document. You have no idea the look on his face when he read it. It was a mixture of surprise, disbelief, and, I think, a hint of pride he tried to hide. "How did you do it?" he asked, still staring at the paper as if he couldn't believe it was real. I took a deep breath and replied, "Dad, I did it because I was worth more than a penny. I did it because I had potential that no one, not even myself, knew existed." He was silent for a few minutes. Daniel, who was in the kitchen, came running when he heard our conversation and gave me the tightest hug of my life. "I always knew you could do it," he said, and I knew he meant it. But my journey was just beginning. At university, I continued with this same determination. I participated in research projects, received a research grant, and maintained a high average in all my subjects. In my third year, I was selected for an exchange program abroad, an opportunity that would change my perspective on the world and myself. During the 6 months I spent studying abroad, I had experiences that made me grow in ways I never imagined. I learned to be independent, to trust my decisions, and to see that I was capable of adapting to any situation. When returned to Brazil, I was a completely different person from the insecure teenager who had heard that devastating conversation. In my senior year of college, I began interning at a multinational company. My performance was so good that even before I graduated, I received a permanent job offer. It was an entry-level position, but at a dream company with a salary I never imagined I'd earn so early in my career. My graduation day was emotional in a way I can't explain. There I was, in my cap and gown, receiving my engineering degree with honors. My entire family was in the audience, including my father. When my name was called and I walked on stage, I looked for him in the crowd. Our eyes met, and for the first time in my life, I saw tears in his eyes. After the ceremony, he approached me. He was clearly moved and embarrassed at the same time. "Daughter," he said, his voice breaking, "I need to apologize. I was completely wrong about you. You're not just worth a penny, you're worth millions. I'm so proud of the woman you've become." That moment was intense for both of us. I could have held a grudge. I could have thrown in his face everything I'd suffered because of those words. But I chose to forgive. Not because he deserved it, but because I deserved to live free from that burden. "Father," I replied, "your words hurt me deeply, but they also gave me the strength I needed to discover who I truly am. In a way, I should be grateful." Today, 5 years later, I'm a project manager at the same company where I started as an intern. I lead a team of 15 people, some with much more experience than I. I was able to buy my own apartment, have a stable financial life, and most importantly, I know my worth. My relationship with my father has completely changed. Now he seeks me out for business advice, includes me in conversations about the family's future, and whenever anyone asks about his children, he speaks of me with the same pride he always showed for Daniel. Daniel and I have become even closer. He often tells me that my transformation has inspired him to step out of his comfort zone and pursue his own challenges. But do you know what the biggest lesson from this whole story was? It wasn't proving my father wrong. It was discovering that the most important opinion of me was always my own. For years, I lived seeking external approval, especially from my father, and this made me doubt my abilities. When I finally understood that I didn't need anyone's validation to be valuable, everything changed. People sometimes ask me if I still resent my father for those words. The answer is no, because I understand he said those words based on his own insecurities and limitations, not mine. He grew up in a generation where showing affection and trust to children wasn't common, especially with daughters. This doesn't justify what he said, but it helps me understand the context. Today, I use my story to inspire others, especially young women going through similar situations. I created a blog where I share career and personal development tips, and I receive messages every day from people who identify with my journey. It's incredible how our pain can transform into purpose when we choose to grow through it. If you're going through something similar, if someone important in your life told you that you're worthless, that you won't make it, that you have no potential, I want you to know that they're wrong. completely wrong. You have value. You have potential. You're capable of incredible achievements. Sometimes we just need a push. Even if that push comes disguised as a harsh word, use this pain as fuel. Transform those negative words into determination. Prove to yourself that you are so much more than anyone ever imagined. And when you succeed, when you're at the top of your personal mountain, remember to reach out to others going through what you've been through, because at the end of the day, it's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about discovering who you truly are when you stop limiting yourself by other people's expectations. It's about choosing to believe in yourself even when it seems the whole world doubts you. My journey isn't over yet. I plan to pursue a master's degree, start my own company, and continue growing and evolving. But now I know that no matter what lies ahead, I have the strength to overcome any obstacle. Because I've learned that my worth doesn't depend on anyone's opinion, not even my father's. This is my personal story, and I hope it inspires you to write your own story of overcoming adversity. Leave a comment with the biggest lesson you learned from my story. And if you have a similar story to share, don't forget to like the video if it touched you in any way, and subscribe to the channel for more real and inspiring stories. See you in the next video, and always remember, you're worth much more than you imagine.